So I have to imagine your last movie came out during the summer. Had you already started production? Were you already working on Cabrini at the time, or
No, it was the opposite. I thought Cabrini was going to come out first. Sound of
okay?
Freedom was a film that kind of was on the sidelines. It was almost like an orphan movie. Um, so I thought Cabrini was going to come out first and then Sound of Freedom. So I shot Sound of Freedom. I had wrapped the movie in 2018.
Okay.
And then I went and shot this one. And so the releases, they kind of, you know, got very close together.
Well, if you have an orphan movie, Cabrini is the best person to save it for sure.
Hey, that's
Yeah.
actually that's a very beautiful way to put it. I'm gonna steal that one.
No worries. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. So what? Did you know anything about Mother Cabrini or her legacy when you were first approached about this, or is this something you decided to, start from the
No,
scratch and?
no, I didn't
Okay.
know anything about it. Zero. I got a phone call one day asking me if I would read the screenplay. When I asked what was it about, they told me it was the story about, the first American saint, Mother Cabrini. And I said, "Oh, it's a movie about a nun." You're like, "Yeah." It's like, "Oh, I'm not, my next movie is not gonna be a movie about a nun. It's not for me." And they're like, "Well, read the script, you know." Don't To me, that's one of the worst things we can do as human beings, and I did it, and that's what people do is we automatically have a prejudice and we believe it. And in this case, I had a prejudice because I was like, well, how could a movie about an nun be entertaining? And then I read the screenplay, and I was completely taken aback by her accomplishments, about her life, about her inner power, and also just reading the script actually challenged my own self to question um, deeper questions about my own life. So I went from saying no to finishing the screenplay and saying, let's make this movie. So it was a great journey and I continue to learn about her. The other day, I literally just heard that she crossed the Andes on a donkey.
Oh, wow.
Know
Okay.
that. So
Sequel.
yeah, exactly.
What when you read the script, you must have known this is going to be a much bigger movie. You're going to have a lot more, you have locations, a period piece. I mean, how do you approach it? Like, where'd you find some of these places to shoot? There was a lot of visual effects involved, building, stuff like that.
Yeah, well, my first when I read the script and I finished, the way I always try to listen to the projects. Every project has a different voice, and this one it was yelling at me to be shot in black and white for many reasons. And then I started diving into her life and finding pictures about the area, especially this photographer Jacob Riis. And I started seeing 5 points and extreme poverty. I mean, the poverty that Jacob Riis was capturing was as extreme as the poverty in my country today, in Mexico. And
Mm.
this is New York City. So um, that's how kind of a lot of the visuals started to come together. The movie for a long time was designed to be shot in black and white
Mm.
because she was constantly, she had one outfit and it was black and white, mainly all white, black, um, except a little white here and there. So, that allowed me to kind of explore the story in a more operatic way, more. I started, going back and watching a lot of the Orson Welles films, the use of this very, you know, shadows and, very, very stylized lighting. And in the last minute, we switched to color, but we kept the language of the black and white narrative. So it kind of was a beautiful combination that I didn't know if it was going to work. So it was a
Mm.
very risky approach, but it ended up working. I mean, you saw the movie yesterday, so you you you'll be the judge.
Yeah. Hey, Jordan paid you a great compliment last night. He compared you to Frank Capra. Is that something he's been saying to you for a long time, or did he surprise you with that?
No, this is I think the second time I heard it, and I'm just very humbled by that, and just I was very moved. I continue every time I hear that when he says it. Obviously, um, I'm learning to accept compliments. It's a lot of the times when somebody compliments you, you're like you don't believe them, and it's also takes a little wisdom to learn how to accept them sometimes.
Mm. How long did it take you to find Christiana to play Mother Cabrini? I mean, she's really amazing. I know she's done a lot of work in Italy. Was she an easy person to find and cast?
No, it was very difficult. I think I started first with um, a worldwide search, and because in the beginning, the movie was not going to be shot in Italian; it was going to be shot in English. And as we continue to, dive into the story, we realize this is a movie about the Italian, you know, culture, and I think it deserves to be told in Italian. And that's when we dove into Italy and looking at Italian actors. And no, it was definitely a journey to find her. And even after I met her, I was casting, for me, more than a character. I was casting the eyes of the character. And a lot of the times, because of COVID and she was living over there, it's hard to see the power of a character's eyes through a Zoom meeting. So it there was a lot of, you know, challenge to figure out if it was her or not. But definitely when I started working with her and I saw her presence on the camera, if I could have, if it wasn't through COVID and I would have seen her right away, I would knew, okay, this is Cabrini. But because it was all through Zoom and all of that, it was a lot of, there was some hesitation going on. But I'm very, very proud of the work that she did, and I don't see anybody else playing her.